What's up, guys? It's time for week two's preview. Ben Birch, owner of the Pirates, here, bringing it to you today. Got a little bit of time here before I head off back to work on my break doing our weekly preview. So let's jump right into this, see if we can get it over with. Try to have some excitement. We have a terrible week, though, this week. We got a lot of blowouts. I'm predicting only one matchup with two winning teams. So we have some teams that look pretty weak going into this season. So I'm going to try not to be too mean to the respective owners. But in all honesty, there's a couple of the teams that I don't see putting up much of a fight this week or throughout the rest of the season without a serious makeover. But we got a bunch of good owners, so who knows? We might see some moves that'll put some of these teams back into contention. But here we go. Let's jump into it. The first game is going to be a pretty big blowout, I think. We got the Gladiators and the Enforcers. Dan going up against Noe. And right now, Noe's his receiving core looks awful. Just does not look good. And you've got Dwayne Bowe, who's just non-existent. He's got a lot to prove. And I don't see a lot going on with that. And on the other end, the Gladiators have Phillip Rivers, and the New England secondary made Chad Henne look like an all-pro. So you got Phillip Rivers and Vincent Jackson. I think we're going to be looking at a big-time shootout between the two teams. I think New England's going to win, but dude, Dan's going to rack up some major points, and Adrian Peterson looks strong. Whether or not he puts up a huge game, he's going to have a good, solid, consistent one. I got the Gladiators 105-85 at a bit of a blowout to start our week off. The next one's not going to be much prettier. We got the Convicts versus Team America, and Team America just, without Peyton Manning, they look like the Colts right now. They look like a team that, with Peyton Manning, can compete any year and every year. And right now, with Kyle Orton, just it doesn't look good. They've got absolutely no QB there. They don't have an answer for the lack of Peyton Manning. They just don't really have very good fantasy threats, and the receiving cores also looking pretty rough and giving Noah's a run for its money at sort of bottom feeders on the receiving core. He's looking like the Indianapolis Colts right now without Peyton Manning. I hate to say it. And then on the other side, you got another big one. Big Ben is going up against Seattle, who's just awful. And then you've got Javid Best and Calvin Johnson going up against Kansas City, who showed that they couldn't stop a leak to save their lives. Just let everything go through. Let the Bills run up 41 points on them. I expect Calvin Johnson and Javid Best to have pretty decent days. I think Stafford's going to light it up. I got the Convicts at 100-80. So it's not looking very good either. Feel pretty bad for Justin here. You know, maybe he'll be able to get lucky, get a high draft pick, shore up the team, and Peyton Manning will be healthy again next year, and he could be looking like the Colts also next year, where they get Peyton back, look really good, and also luck out with a good draft pick. So it could actually end up in Justin's favor for next year, but I don't see his team going very far without Peyton Manning. The next game, we got Luis and Ramil, defending champion, who looked pretty darn good in week one. That team looked really, really strong. He's got a great wide receiving core. He's got Tom Brady, who is just a machine. And that offensive system just, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's like every game and all day Monday night, he was throwing to guys, he didn't even have to, you could have put me on the field. I could have put up 30 fantasy points. He was throwing to guys who had 5 yards of separation. It was just disgusting. I kind of expect that to continue this week. I expect to have another great game. But on the downside for Ramil, his wide receiving core, it's a good one, but it's going up against some elite quarterbacks this week. And I expect them to stick the guy on their guy. You got Steve Smith is going to be going up against one of either Tramon Williams or Charles Woodson. all day long. I don't expect to see a lot out of him. He's got a rookie quarterback throwing to him who's going to be up against one of the best defenses in the league that blitzed more than anybody last week. So I expect to see Cam Newton struggle, and I expect to see Steve Smith be on the kind of losing end of that struggle. And then you put him up against two great cornerbacks all day long and a great safety in Nick Collins over the top. I just don't see Steve Smith doing anything. And then you got Andre Johnson is going to have to fight off a great cornerback in Vontae Davis. And then you got Stanford Rout covering his number 3 guy. I think it's Stevie Johnson. You got Stanford Rout there in Oakland. You got a monstrous front four is going to be attacking. Was it Ryan Fitzpatrick all day long? This is going to be a tough one for the Decepticons. And then as far as the executioners go, I think Fitzpatrick's still going to manage to have a decent day. I think he's the real deal. I don't think he's a Tom Brady by any means, but I think he's going to be a solid 20-point quarterback. He's going to have a good season. And McFadden and Forte look like the real deal. They don't have super tough matchups. And then Luis has Dez Bryant and Miles Austin going up against the San Francisco 49ers secondary, which is just awful. They lost their only good cornerback, and they had a terrible secondary last year. I expect Tony Romo to pick them apart. It's not going to be good. So I got the Executioners in a close one. I think Brady's going to keep it close. Brady's going to throw all over the place against San Diego. And we're looking at a 95-90 game. I got the Executioners winning, grabbing their first win of the season. They had a great game last week, lost to a pretty tough opponent, and expecting to have a pretty decent season this year. And this win being the first one to kind of start getting him on track. Louis done a good job putting that team together. The Decepticons look really strong. I don't think they're going to have a tough year. I think they'll probably win the division again. But the Executioners look like they're going to give them a little bit of a run for their money and steal a win this week to try and make that division competitive. But that Decepticons team looks really strong. Props to Ramil for building a serious team this year. They're looking pretty good. Next, we got the Chronic Monkeys and the Apaches, and what also looks like it's going to be a pretty decent game. The Apaches, the tough thing right now, their running game is not existing. He's starting Reggie Bush, and who was the other guy? I didn't even see, but I have to go back and look at it, but it's not even worth mentioning. It's just his running game. Christian, what are you doing, dude? Like, your running game's awful. It's terrible. And I don't see a whole lot across the board on Christian's team, on the Apaches team, that really looks real good this week. I think Stanford is going to light Kansas City up. Welker will probably have a great day on the receiving end on a good one from Brady. So expect that one to be I think those two will keep it close. But, dude, Fernando has Witten and Romo who are just going to shred. They're going to shred San Francisco. And then Peyton Hillis is just going to bulldoze. He's just going to destroy Indianapolis. Look for a 30-point game out of Hillis. And, it's going to be a close one. Stanford and Welker will keep the Apaches in this one. But I got the Chronic Monkeys 95-90. And we kind of have two games of the week. One's not really a game of the week because the opponent's not very good. But we got a rematch from the first round of the playoffs last year between my team, the Pirates, and Los Lobos, Jose's team. Jose's team's not looking good this year. He's not getting the revival year from his guys in TO and LT. The team looks like they need it. Colley's, we don't even know what we're going to get out of him. He's got Kerry Collins throwing to him. Reggie Wayne's getting all the looks. Doesn't look like a good year for Los Lobos. It's a shame that he lost the championship game last year because I don't see him getting back there this year. He's going to need a little bit next year. He's got Michael Vick, who can always make a game out of things. But my team's got a strong day. I mean, Drew Brees shredded Green Bay, just tore him to shreds. I don't expect him to do any different against Chicago. Chicago's defense looked great, but I don't see them looking better than Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay looked bad. I think Drew Brees is just going to do that to a lot of defenses this year. So I expect the same against Chicago. Foster's going to be back and be strong. And the Pirates got off. We averaged 107 points a game last year, second most ever in league history, and we got off to a start this year with 112 points with Foster sitting on the bench. I expect my team to keep that rolling this week. We look pretty good right now. I'm expecting another 110-point game and just kind of keep rolling through. I got 110 to 80 in the biggest blowout of the week. Um, Jose, you got to hope you can shore that team up a little bit with some great free agent wire pickups. You're probably going to be down there at the bottom a few weeks and probably be able to, once we get to see who's coming up, I think you'll be able to snatch some guys. In our game of the week, we got the Mercenaries and the Scooby-Doo Squad. I think this will be a good one. Be a nice close game. We got two real strong teams. It's the only matchup with two undefeated teams right now. Both teams look really good. The Mercenaries look real good. The only weakness really is Frank Gore. We don't know what they're going to get out of Frank Gore this year. Kendall's looking like a good runner. He might be holding on to Frank Gore for a year or two too long. And right now, the Scooby-Doo Squad's got Turner, who I think he's going to have a real good day. Definitely expect him to run all over the Eagles' weak defense. They've got a great secondary, but terrible run defense. It looked awful against Steven Jackson. And I think Turner's going to tear it to pieces too. And then McCoy's just looked really good. I expect that one to be a bit of a shootout there in Atlanta with Turner running the ball all over it. And the Eagles doing what they do. And when they do what they do, LeSean McCoy is on the receiving end of a lot of fantasy points. I expect that running game to make the difference. I got the Scooby-Doo Squad winning 105 to 100. Nice high-scoring game. So this has been our week 2 preview. 11 minutes. Sorry it took longer than what reading would be. Hope you enjoyed it a little bit. I'm going to do video from now on. I'll try to start paring it down, getting it shorter. But might try and throw some things in, make it fun. But I think that the video is going to make things a little bit more personable. Gives us a good way to interact too. Some of you guys are there in Chicago. And you get to kind of interact on a weekly basis. Whereas myself and Justin are out west. So we don't get to interact as much. So I think it'll make it fun. Also lets us do some smack talking. I didn't do any yet this week. I gotta pare it down and get it shorter before I go wasting your time with smack talk. But let's have a good year, guys. We had a great first week. I won, so obviously it was a great first week. But let's have a good year, and we got a trophy. I don't know if Luis has told everyone, but we got a trophy, so we got something even more to play for this year. So have a great week. Good luck to everybody, and enjoy. Later.